Hi everybody, it's Andrea from Blessed by Adoption. Thank you for stopping by. John Taylor and I decided that we would hop on here and do the Halloween tag by Carla at Carla's Bunny Trails. As you can see, he's dressed up in his little Raphael Ninja Turtle costume. So let's get started. Number 1, what is your favorite Halloween candy? Well, I've never been known to turn down any kind of piece of chocolate. I don't really have a favorite Halloween candy. I do prefer the chocolate bars more than I do really anything. Hershey's, Butterfinger, anything like that. Reese's Pieces. Oh yeah, Reese's Peanut Butter Cups, M&M's, Reese's Pieces, yeah. So anything more like of a chocolate type nature is my favorite. Number 2, what is your favorite spooky or scary movie? I don't really have one. I was just telling Don the other night that we've never seen Psycho. I am currently watching the Ed Gein story. He was like one of the very first notorious serial killers back in the 50s. So I'm watching that documentary on Netflix right now, and that is pretty creepy. And most definitely not for kids to be in attendance with. That is for darn sure. My earliest Halloween costume memory. Well, back then we were able to dress up in our costumes at school. So, you know, back then in the 70s, we had the those plastic masks, you know, like Cinderella, Snow White. I think I was most of the princesses is what I really remember. Sorry, I don't have this on my tripod. I'm holding my phone and answering. I have to tell you, my earliest costume memory, which is also probably my favorite, was the year that my brother was dressed up as a hobo. I think he was maybe 9 or 10. He had a pair of my grandpa's old denim overalls on and a belly, and Mom gave him a beard and a mustache, and he had a stick and his hobo bag, and that was a hit. I do remember that. That was a hit that year, so I remember that very well. That's one of my favorite memories. And I was actually looking to see if I had that picture of him, but I don't, so I could share it, but unfortunately I don't. What costume, number 4, what costume have I always wanted to wear? Oh my gosh, a big princess flowing gown. Every time I see like an elegant staircase or something, I can just imagine myself walking gracefully down there with the dress or the train following behind me. So yeah, maybe something like that. Have I ever had a supernatural experience? Yes, I have. My grandma and grandpa Sorgen's house had a very friendly, protective spirit in the house. It was an older lady, this we do know, because when they moved everything out and they sold the house, my dad went around and took pictures. Now, this is the house that my dad basically grew up in. So he went around and took pictures. And on the upstairs, there is the bigger room. When my great-grandmother was alive, she lived upstairs with my grandma and grandpa Sorgen. And so it was kind of like an apartment. It had a little mini kitchen and a bathroom, and it had 2 bedrooms. And then the front room was her, basically her sitting area. And when Dad went to go take a picture of it, when we got the picture developed, back in over there in the corner by one of the windows was some boxes, and you can vaguely see an older lady sitting there looking out the window, which is funny in its own way, because there are people that live across the street, like people that go to the Catholic Church or whatever. They will say that every once in a while, when you look up in that window looking at the house, it would be the very far right to you, and you can see somebody looking out the window. It is now college housing, and rumor has it that nobody really wants to rent that room because it is haunted. They'll feel like people like tugging at their toes. Now, when two mommy and pops, which is what we called my grandma and grandpa Sorgen, lived there, if you just went in and like kicked off your shoes and went back, you would go back and your shoes would be placed neatly together. And then, of course, on Christmas's Eves, we would hear somebody upstairs walking around, or the door to the upstairs would open, or somebody would flush the toilet. And then you would look around and realize that it was nobody, because everybody was in the room that should have been there. So, yeah. And I also, too, my Aunt Helen, which was my dad's sister, and I, especially Aunt Helen, she had the ability to be able to tell whether or not somebody had died in a house or there was a spirit or something. And I kind of have that ability a little bit too. I get the heebie-jeebies when I walk into a house. And this is something that, I mean, I don't even know about the history of the house. And I can just kind of tell. You know what I mean? So, the best thing that I've ever received for trick-or-treating, which is number 6. Well, I certainly wasn't like Charlie Brown and didn't get a rock. But I would have to say that my Aunt Helen always did the neatest thing. She would go out and buy the clear plastic like service gloves that you would wear when you're serving food. And she would fill them up with popcorn and candy corn and peanuts. M&Ms and stuff like that, and then tie them together. So those were always kind of cool as well. The most creative costume that I've ever seen had to be probably one year. There was a little guy in our community that was in a wheelchair. He had cancer, and unfortunately, since then, he has passed. And his mom and dad made a taxi cab, I think, around his wheelchair. And it was very, very creative. I mean, if you would not have known that he was in a wheelchair, you never would have known. It was very creative. Number 8, have you ever visited a spooky haunted location? Yes, I have. The Alton, Illinois is one of the most haunted places in Illinois. And we've been to the Mineral Springs Hotel several times. When Tyler, my second youngest son, was still in foster care, his biological mother lived up in Peoria, and we would meet halfway in Alton so he could do his visits. Well, while we were waiting for him to get his visits done, Don and I and the kids would go exploring. And one of them that we visited was, of course, the Mineral Springs Hotel. And nothing really had happened there that was really spooky that we witnessed. I could tell, though, that there were spirits there. And just the fact that it's also known to be one of the most haunted hotels in the country as well. And then number 9, what is my favorite trick-or-treat memory? I don't know. Truthfully, I have to say it's probably really taken my kids trick-or-treating. Like the very first year that I took Angel and Selena trick-or-treating, my mom's really good friends lived here, and they always had like a little campfire and everything, and we would go down that whole street and actually take them trick-or-treating. And Selena was 2.5 at that time, and she was worn out, and she was dressed up as Snow White. And she's like, I need to go home and go bed. She was just so tired. It was just so precious. But we could take our kids downtown Carterville. They have a door-to-door trick-or-treat, and it's a big to-do and everything. The year of COVID, we did actually get to go around our area and trick-or-treat door-to-door, so my kids got to experience that as well. So, yeah, hopefully the weather is going to turn nice for us. It's been cold, wet, and rainy here the last few days. I think that Hurricane Melissa is just making everybody wet and damp. So evidently we're supposed to have dry weather for Halloween, and my kids are out of school that day as well because it's Teacher Institute Day. So, and of course it's on a Friday, so the teachers don't have to worry about the next day of being in a candy coma. We all have the weekend to recuperate from that. So anyway, we just wanted to stop by and share our Halloween tag by Carla at Carla's Bunny Trail. We hope you enjoyed our answers. We hope you have a wonderful, happy Halloween. Be safe out there, trick-or-treating. And we will all talk at you later. Thanks for stopping by. And don't forget to hit that like and that subscribe button. Thank you guys. Love you all. Be blessed.